All right, let's get started. First question, Matt. Contenders or pretenders? Dolphins. What do you think?
Dolphins. I think they took a rough loss to the. I think they took a really rough loss to the Chiefs this past week. I don't really see him going anywhere. Jalen Waddle was looking a little shaky that weekend. I know he came out for a little bit, got hurt, but I feel like Tyreek Hill is a really strong point in their offense. I feel like their defense isn't stepping up like they really need to be. But I don't think Tua has what it takes to get him there. I mean, we just saw Mahomes Mahomes crumbled, destroyed them, tore them apart. If they're gonna do that, I believe teams like the Ravens could also. So with the stellar defense like the Ravens.
I said at the beginning of the year that the Dolphins weren't as good as everyone believed. You know, they had that 70-point week against the Broncos, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. But yeah, they have a bunch of speedsters on their team who make the team look good and probably make Tua look better than he really is. But I think against the Chiefs, we saw that they aren't as good as everyone has said. Same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles found ways to counter their Mike Daniels' offense. So
yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it speaks to the numbers. Dolphins are 6-0 against teams with losing records, 0-3 against winning teams. So I would agree. All right, Bills.
No. Plain and simple answer, no. They're the most, besides from the Dolphins, in my opinion, the most overrated team in the NFL. They barely beat the Giants. Giants probably should have won that game. Patriots beat them. Bengals beat them. Barely beat the Buccaneers. With their schedule ahead, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to the Jets again. I think the Jets will go 2-0 against them. And with a really hard, besides the Patriots, they have a really hard 6 games left past week 12. Dolphins, even the Chargers, because they're a light up team, Chiefs, Eagles, they have no chance.
I mean, I don't care what you say. I always think they'll be contenders.
Yeah.
Despite their record, yes, they don't look great right now. But when you have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, a really solid defense, and that Buffalo home stadium, I mean, you're always going to be contenders. Yes, they, earlier on, I said the Bills will make it to the Super Bowl. And, now that claim isn't looking as strong. But I still think they are a very solid team, and they still definitely have a good shot to turn their team around.
No chance.
We're only halfway through the season right now, and we've definitely seen some mistakes in the offense, but that's something they can definitely figure out.
No, Josh Allen is not playing like how Patrick Mahomes. He's not playing like a Super Bowl contender. He's not playing. He's not. I could argue he's not even playing like Tua right now. They're not even staying in together. Let's be real. The Bills have no chance of making the Super Bowl.
All right. Personally, I agree with Matt. I do think Josh Allen's holding them back, but if they play to their potential, I do think they could win the Super Bowl. But
shoot for the stars.
We'll see. All right. Next, Seahawks.
Shaky team. They're going to be one of those teams that might sneak in there. They might have a nice hot streak going in the playoffs. I don't see them getting a bye. I just see them being in a very low seed for the playoffs. They got absolutely demolished this week by the Ravens. Barely beat the Browns. Lost to the Bengals. I don't really see them. I know they have a really strong win against the Lions, but that was in the early season. I don't think the Seahawks, I feel all around have a solid team, but there's something that's not connecting with them. I don't believe they're going to make I don't think they're contenders at all. I don't think they're anywhere near Super Bowl.
I agree with you on that. I feel that Geno Smith, is definitely holding the team back a little bit. I feel, we saw all of the flaws in their defense last weekend against the Ravens. They looked awful last weekend. And in previous games, like against the Browns, they looked good, but there was a lot of mistakes there. And, I agree that they could probably sneak in if they get on a, hot run in the playoffs or something. I do think they will make the playoffs considering their record right now. But no, I don't think that they're going to really, contend once they actually get there.
Yeah, I feel like Geno Smith, he really had a really strong season last year. He had a really breakout season. This year, I feel like he is, don't get me wrong, he's doing great for the Seahawks, but I do feel like he is holding something back.
He's a mediocre QB.
He is a mediocre QB, and I feel like he needs to start making more plays for the team. Because if he doesn't take an initiative, they're not going to go anywhere, and they're just going to be the same 500 team for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
All right. I would agree. I do like Geno Smith. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's got to take another step to actually become Super Bowl contenders. All right, now 49ers.
You know, I feel out of everyone that we've talked about, 49ers have the best chance. I feel like they could upset the Eagles this year. The NFC, listen, I feel like it's only between two teams, and that's the 49ers or the Eagles. 49ers, yes, have had some shaky losses. Brock Purdy has not really gotten there, but I feel like it is a little slope they're taking. Don't get me wrong, they had key factors in their offense hurt. I know, team of Avengers, but still, if you're losing your best players that you're used to having chemistry with every week, what are you supposed to do? You're bringing in backups. So I feel like the 49ers, if they're staying healthy the rest of the year, have the best chance to beat the Eagles. And I feel like they are, out of this whole list that we've been talking about, the best contenders.
Yeah, I said it earlier, and I still believe that. I think the 49ers will win the Super Bowl this year. And, yes, right now they're at probably the lowest point of their season, but I just think they have so much chemistry on their team. Shanahan is a phenomenal play caller. He just picks apart that defense, any defense he's going against. And yes, Brock Purdy is also in that middle ground of QBs. But like Matt said, yeah, they're on a team of Avengers. McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel. And their defense is insane. They just picked up
Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young. They have Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Fred Warner. They're an unstoppable team, I think. And, getting rid of those little mishaps within the season, I think come playoffs, they're going to take it to the Eagles pretty good.
I do think they're unstoppable, but the reason they hurt themselves with Brock Purdy, I think that's the problem. Brock Purdy's got to play better. That's just my opinion. But
that's as always. But I think McCaffrey takes that load off of him a little bit because McCaffrey's just so dominant.
For sure.
I would agree with that.
So dominant.
All right, here we go. MVP favorite at midseason. Who do you think?
Right now, I feel the clear picture is Mahomes. He had that flu game 2 weeks ago. Listen, he had the flu. Everyone has a bad game. This week came against the Dolphins, absolutely went up 21-0 in the first half.
Yeah, he actually had his lowest passing yards. He has the lowest QBR right now, lowest passer rating.
Yeah, okay, but
he has not looked strong at all this season. And look, I love Patrick Mahomes. I do.
Yeah.
I have him I drafted him on my fantasy team, but he's not playing to his potential this year. And I'm a Giants fan. But I'm saying Jalen Hurts right now.
No.
He is the real deal. I despise the Eagles as a Giants fan, and I despise Jalen Hurts. But him and that team, they're playing out of their minds right now. And I just think in general they've looked sharp. There's no real one person who's ahead of everyone else. Is pretty tight right now. But to say Mahomes is the MVP, I think is just a little stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. If you get him in a head-to-head matchup, Mahomes and the Chiefs are taken away. Jalen Hurts just sits in the pocket like a little baby.
They don't have the
He has 13 seconds to sit in the pocket like a little baby because of his O-line. Throws the ball. I'd hope if you're sitting in the pocket for 20 seconds that you can find somebody
Mahomes
downfield.
has one of the best lines as well. And
yeah, but
Humphrey on
if you look at the ratio,
in the league.
if you look at the ratio, Jalen Hurts has so much more time. If it wasn't for his O-line, I don't think we'd really be seeing too much out of him. But sure, go whatever floats.
Do you hold that against him? Him just having to go to the line?
Yeah, I would say. Yes, don't get me wrong, great player. But I feel like if they came in a head-to-head matchup, Patrick Mahomes is taking it away.
It's not just his time in the pocket; it's his pocket awareness. I've watched him. He does spins in the pocket, and he's not, really zoning the field and getting out, and he hasn't been running at all. He hasn't been scrambling out of the pocket and making smart decisions. He's thrown 3 or 4 interceptions to players, and it's been no Chiefs in the area. He just has not looked sharp at all this year. Like I said, he's had all-time lows this season. And someone like Jalen Hurts, despite him having guys like Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, he still has to get the ball to those guys. And look, both teams have a great O-line. Both teams do have a great O-line. But Jalen Hurts is able to make those decisions and actually get out of the pocket. And, also on that tush-push play, he's always making that play happen.
I mean, I think that's O-line.
Yeah,
that's O-line, but he actually has to get over.
Yeah. I mean, if I had 30 dudes pushing me, I'd hope I'd be able to get some yards too. But
they're the only team that's able to get it done, though.
All right.
You can't take that away from Jalen Hurts.
All right, let's move on. Here, now we still come to a local team. What do the Giants do from here?
I hope to God they tank. I mean, I'm a huge Giants fan. Nick is too. I think we can both agree on this. I pray to God they somehow, some way can get that first pick. Daniel Jones has. We've seen it all. Daniel Jones does not have what it takes to lead this team. I mean, never.
He just torn his ACL.
No, I know, but I'm saying from previous and look, we could not score a single touchdown in the first half. Our first touchdown in the first half was scored by the defense.
Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. I thought Tyrod Taylor played 10 times better than him.
Yeah.
I feel like Daniel is.
I think it's the end of Daniel Jones.
I also do. I think he played his last. I feel like the next year they're gonna. But it all depends. They gave him that contract. Are they gonna ride him out? I don't know what Joe Schoen and Brian Dable think.
We're back in a rebuilding season again. We were in a rebuilding season last year and exceeded expectations.
Yes.
Expectations beyond the moon. Dable, offensive coach or coach of the year. And then you have, we won an actual playoff game last year, and now we're probably, if not one of the worst teams in the league. And I think at this point, you do have to tank, and you hope to get the first pick. Caleb Williams, you mean?
Yeah, please.
I mean, that's seems like there's been a lot of talk of us trading from 4 to 1 for Caleb Williams, and I think, we don't have a QB right now. And I think I personally don't love Saquon. I feel that, he's too much money for what he does, and he's always trying to make a big play. He's not just consistently hitting the hole. He's really inconsistent in games as well. And I think if we had got a, less talented back, but a more talented O-line, I think we would be able to, our entire offense would fully be able to develop in the passing game and in the rushing game.
Yeah, and just to throw one more thing in, the Giants, I don't know if you've seen, but their defense is just, their defense isn't bad. Their defense.
Yeah, we have a solid defense.
We're getting interceptions. We're getting a couple fumble recoveries. Our defense, look, they scored our first touchdown in the first half. If you put a good QB in, I feel like we'd be able to make the playoffs, especially in the NFC. I don't see too much talent compared to the AFC.
If you put in a mediocre QB in, we'd probably be able to.
True.
Because Jones is seeing ghosts out there.
Yeah, he is.
It sucked the first game. Our O-line sucks.
Yeah.
We have wusses like Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas who hamstring out and can't play. He played the entire Cowboys game. We had Justin Pugh. Off the street.
Yeah,
off the couch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awful. It's awful, and I think it's discipline too. It's we were content with where we were last season and just decided to do nothing. I mean, you can see guys look so out of shape on the field. The first 2 or 3 games, Thibodeau looked awful. I mean, now he's playing out of his mind, but. Those first 2-3 games, I mean, he was flopping all over the place. And I just think that, shows Dable, I feel kind of let off this year. And he hasn't had a great season either. He's making all these big gutsy plays. And now it's I don't want to go for it on 4th and 1. And we kick a field goal miss with a kicker who's injured.
And
then we lose to the Jets. I mean, it's just really questionable decisions. And Dable, I mean, I love Dable, but his head is maybe on the chopping block this year.
I don't think Dable should be fired. He brought them to the playoffs.
No, I don't think he should be either. But he's made some really, really questionable decisions this year, and I'm not happy with him right now.
He's been put in a difficult situation, a very difficult situation. No O-line, your QB just tore his ACL. I mean, it doesn't look good. I think it's rebuild. You try to get Caleb Williams no matter what. This is the guy. It sucks that you signed him to that contract, but
I know 40. I mean, $160 million.
I did not like that contract.
That's like $80 million guaranteed. I'm like, come on.
All right, we gotta move on. Next, will the Jets make the playoffs?
No. No.
All right, you didn't have to start off that hot. All right.
No, they have no offense. I mean, maybe if Aaron Rodgers comes back, I haven't even seen him play this year. I don't think he had a great season last year, but Zach Wilson is the main reason why they don't. I mean, I watched them against the Chargers. They literally nothing.
I would beg to differ that it's just Zach Wilson's fault. Don't get me wrong, he is a problem, but that O-line is destroyed like the Giants. And besides Garrett Wilson, I really don't think you can name another wide receiver on that team. I can, but it's terrible, the wide receiver.
Sure, whatever you guys think, I think they're going to make the playoffs. Listen, I haven't...
What?
Listen to this. Robert Saleh,
Robert Saleh has made mind-boggling, questionable decisions.
Listen, dude,
I think their best player on their team is their punter.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I have a strong feeling they're going to slip in as the last seed. Don't get me wrong. I feel like they are going to get in the playoffs and get absolutely obliterated. I agree. They are a terrible team, but I feel like somehow, some way, I have a gutsy feeling they're somehow going to sneak in. They've gotten these gutsy wins against crazy, a couple teams, but trust me, they're going to slip in as one of the bottom tier seeds and get absolutely destroyed.
They after the Chargers game, they looked defeated, and I would not be surprised if they just lost the next 2 or 3 games.
Oh, well, they got the Raiders next. Interim head coach.
Yeah.
I think they got a shot to beat them. Now, you did say you thought the Bills were going to get swept by the Jets.
No.
Yes.
No, the Jets, I mean, their defense is solid, and that's the reason why they have a shot. But when they, their offense is terrible, and if they go against a good defense, the Chargers, who aren't even that good, they have a decent defense.
Look at the rest. You have to look at the rest of their schedule, though. They have teams like the Patriots, the Texans. Don't get me wrong, C.J. Stroud going off.
I think the Texans will win.
But I'm telling you, I think they're going to slip in somehow.
I just feel like there's too many good. You have the Browns, you have the Steelers, you have the Dolphins, who will probably either Dolphins or Bills will be in a wild card spot. I think the Chargers will slip in. But the Jets, I just don't see, they're not talented on their offensive side. And, although defense does win championships, their offense, they need to have something going on their offense. And I feel like I've watched, it could be arguable, when you watch, perfect example, Giants-Jets game, that game was unwatchable. How many, possession changes where there was 30? It was a game of field position because no team could move the ball.
Good punting game. Good punting
game. I mean, the Jets have zero offense, and that's the reason why they won't be making the playoffs.
As a Jets fan, I think they could make the playoffs. It's going to be obviously it's going to be tight. Nobody thinks they're going to make it. I do think they can. Do they make a position at QB? I don't know. I do think if they do change the QB,
if Rodgers can come back in a reasonable time this season, maybe they may have a shot. But if Zach Wilson continues to play at QB, I don't know how he gets lucky every year and continues to get this starting QB spot, and I'm sure Jets fans hate it because he's not an NFL QB. He's not,
I think they got a shot as long as the defense does what they do. They have the Raiders. They got to verse the Falcons. They got to verse the Patriots.
They do have an easy schedule coming up.
Look terrible. The Raiders, interim head coach. They're going to have to play the Dolphins twice and the Bills once. It's going to be a tough one, but we'll see.
I say no, but we'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
All right, that's it for First Take this week, and see you next time.